do it. So yesterday we learned about lists, and so I did a little research and found out that lists are basically just arrays. If you're coming from another language, that's all they are. So I was looking for array methods in Python. Turns out arrays in Python don't exist. They're called lists. So now we know. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into today's challenge. I feel like it will definitely go better than yesterday, because yesterday was rough. So let me zoom in a little so we can see it. There we go. All right. When it's, I'm gonna move myself while I read the. When it's spring Japanese cherry blossom, it's called Shakura, and it's admired a lot. The petals start to fall in late April. Suppose that the falling speed of a petal is 5 centimeters per second, and it takes 80 seconds for the petal to reach the ground from a certain branch. Write a function that receives the speed in centimeters a second of a petal as input and returns the time it takes for that petal to reach the ground from that same branch. The movement of the petal is quite complicated, so in this case we can see the velocity is a constant during its falling. Pay attention to the data types. If the initial velocity is non-positive, the return value should be 0. Alright, well, let's start chipping away that. I think one of the second point, pay attention to the data types, is probably the biggest thing we'll need to pay attention to here. So alright, so let's start out kind of breaking the problem down. So write a function that receives, so the input, I forgot hashtag is a comment. Input is centimeters a second, and then we're going to output how high, and return the time it takes to reach the ground, which we know is 5 centimeters a second, and it takes 80 seconds for the petal, so that's 16, I think. 16 times 5. Okay, cool. You can never be too sure. Alright, so we know it is 16 centimeters off the ground. Alright, write a function that receives this speed. So let's So that's basically what we're going to do, is what we just did. So we just need to take the it's going to give us speeds per second, which we just did, which was 5 in this case, and then 80 seconds. Alright, so we just need to do something that x times 16 is going to equal 40. So we just need to do 40 divided by 16. Alright. Alright, so let me walk through this. Sorry, I was kind of... Alright, so we are given an integer. So let's call it speed of falling, and that's v. And then we have, what else do we know? We know the distance it will fall will always be 16, right? And then all we need to do is return the distance. Nope. We know v, so in this case, the 5 is v. We actually didn't know this number. We do now. So we want to do the speed of falling times 16 centimeters, and then that'll equal okay. All right, so I'll type these out just to, so let's just say what we're trying to find is how long it's going to take. So how long it took is going to be the speed of falling, and then we're going to times that by the distance it will fall, and then we just return how long it took. That seems right, but I felt this way yesterday and it didn't work out this way. Okay. Distance it will fall. Is not defined. Oh. Duh. Capital D instead of a small d. Let's run it. Alright, so we passed some of them. 160 should be close to 40. Alright, so let's run through these tests. So if we enter 10, and that is 10 right here. We do 10 times 16, that's 160, and it's supposed to be 40. So I'm doing that wrong. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Wait, if it's falling 5 centimeters per second and it's falling for 80 seconds, then it's 400, not 16. Alright, what am I doing wrong? Suppose the falling speed of a petal is 5 centimeters per second. It's falling, so that's 400 centimeters. Write a function that receives the speed. So if it receives 10, goes here, then we do, oh yeah, our math's backwards. Okay. So how long it took. So we do this backwards. So the distance it will fall. All right. Alright, so in this case we know how fast it's going to fall and the distance it's going to fall. So if we take the distance divided by the speed, then what we get, we will get how long it took. Alright, let's test that. See if I'm thinking about it right. Okay. Alright, so I had that backwards to begin with. That's my bad. Okay, so minus 400. Let's do if one of these, I think else has a colon after it typically. Get rid of this one. Okay, so if the speed is greater than 0, speed of falling is greater than 0, then return how long it took. Else return 0. I believe that is correct. Yes. Okay, we did it. All right. Well, I was kind of hoping for an array question today, but I guess we'll have to deal with the list one next week. So let's go ahead and submit this. All right. So return 400 divided by the speed if v is greater than 0 else. So I just learned today when I was looking up the list stuff that you can actually do this if else statement, and if it's true it should return over here, else it will return what's on the other side of the else statement. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna try and be more consistent with that syntax since it seems to be best practice in Python. I'm still trying to navigate my JavaScript habits, so we'll try and in the future to keep as similar to this syntax as possible because it's easier and it's one line and it seems to be the best way to do it. So all right, today's was a quick one, so hopefully you did well. Let's try and find one for next week. Python 8. We did that one. Let's do this holiday. Or actually, let's sort by positive feedback. We did that one. We're gonna skip regex. Let's try this array one on Monday. All right, so next we're gonna do this speed code number 2, array madness. So if you want to try that out before we try it next week, feel free. That's the one we'll do next. All right, guys, have a good weekend.